Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Hi, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Thank you for joining us tonight out on Facebook and out there on YouTube. For tonight's show, we've got...
Let's kick it off. Hey! Hey!
Sorry, let me get the eye placement with the light beams right. There we go.
Yeah, actually what you should do is you should stand up a little bit just so it looks like the beams are
Oh,
you got to back up. Keep going. A little bit higher. It's not working.
no.
Sit back down. Sit back down.
All
right. Well, hey, how was your week? I know we were fortunate to see each other last week, which was a blast, and I think we recorded the shortest show we've ever done.
Which I don't think John used.
Oh, he didn't? Oh my gosh, we put so much. That was actually a really good show.
Not that I'm aware of. Now, for those who are watching this post live, maybe this is a tease. Maybe it'll come out. Maybe it won't.
Let us know. We actually had special guest Mitch Taylor on the show. And Mitch was the one who he reached out to me about education. Actually, 2 years ago, he said, hey, I would love for you to be a part of Midwest DJs Live. And I was like, oh man, the stars just did not align. The first time he reached out to me, and I said, keep me in mind for next time. I'd be happy to. I would love to. And I didn't know what to expect out of this little show in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Because you look at Vegas, like, oh, Vegas, big show. And I mean, they are big shows. But, and I talked to Mitch. He was sitting by me when, oh my gosh, I can't think of her name now. Who was the gal who was on the last part of day one?
Maria?
Maria. Oh my gosh.
Maria Mattarelli?
She was phenomenal. She was so good. Everybody was so good. And Mitch came over to me. He was kind of sitting off to the side from me. And he goes, so, how's it going? What do you think? And I'm like, Mitch, I'm going to be completely honest.
Whoa.
And he's like, sinking into his seat. Like, I told him, I said, this is probably the best, most organized show I've ever been to. And I mean, you were there. What were your thoughts?
You just summed them up. The show, if, and it's always a big if, right? But if they can maintain the level of what you and I experienced last week, if they can maintain that, they could very well be the show that others get measured against. And I know comparison is the death of happiness and yada, yada, yada. I get that. But I just, I honestly feel like this is, I mean, I'm obviously from Canada. I'm, a huge part of my life is the CPDGA, the Canadian Professional Disc Jockey Association. And I'm looking at what they did down there going, wow. I mean, I wonder if 5 years down the road, once I have, the ducks in a row that, myself and the team are currently putting into place for a real strong base for this association, I'm thinking to myself, wow, 5 years down the road, if I was to ever do something, that's what I would model it on. It's amazing.
Right. Oh, yeah. And, I think a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, I loved being a part of Mobile Beat and, speaking on the stage and everything. And, even at Wedding MBA, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, to speak in front of 500 or 1,000 people, there's a lot of excitement there. And it's true. But I think it's the quality of the presenters that really stood out to me. It wasn't the size of who we were speaking to,
right?
But it was the fact that, there was not a weakness at all in any of those presenters. You had Jim Cerrone, you had Bill Herman, who closed day two. Let me tell you about this guy from Canada who spoke for the very first time. You would have thought that this guy had been public speaking.
All right.
Topic.
All right. All right.
And I got to give it to you, Dave. And I think there was a lot of people who felt the same way. They had well, I knew it was your first time speaking on a stage, but there was a lot of people who I think you really shocked once Mitch said, can you believe that was his first time presenting? Because your content, you had it so well put together. And I want to use what you did for your presentation, not the topic, but your preparation and your finesse that you had. And I want to talk about what we do as an MC for weddings, kind of in that same balance. So what I want to point out in what I saw as a presenter, as a speaker who has spoken numerous times,
right?
You really had you had a phenomenal opening. You had a story. You built from that story. You started out saying, I used to ride the bus. You're talking about your bus ride as a child, and how you got addicted to country because of that. And then all of a sudden it's, who's this Michael Jackson guy?
Yeah.
And your music that you came up to was connected to your story. And again, everything you did connected really well, and it had purpose. And I think your middle, there was never a part where it was like, okay, I'm checking out, because you always kept people engaged with every single thing that you were doing. And then you took what happened at the end, you looked back at the beginning, and you incorporated it in the end to kind of bring it all together as one. So huge applause to you. I think anybody who was there felt that same exact thing. You were very professional. You were very well spoken. You provided laughter. You provided, you talked about some of the couples and how you connected with these people. And it was just this conversation you had. See, I was paying attention. It was this conversation.
Apparently, damn.
This conversation that you had with the lady in the back of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you've got 5 weddings booked. And again, your story, it wasn't just a story. It was, guys, here is gold. Here, everything I'm giving you is a nugget. And I think, again, us as MCs, we have to do that. We have to grab them at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we have to, what's happened all the way through has to connect with the ending. So how'd you do it?
How did I do it?
Yeah.
How did I assemble the presentation?
I'm done talking. So I'm just going to check out. You do your thing, and I'm just going to listen to everybody else.
Well, I want to know if Chris is here, because Chris, if you're here, Matt, we're doing.
Yeah, Chris, are you here?
We will answer Q&A, what have you. I know John's got a lot going on this week, so.
Here he says.
Yeah, John's got a lot going on this week, so he's like, "Could you guys just do a show and maybe open it up to a Q&A?" I'm like, "Sure." Anyway, the breakdown of what you just did for my presentation, I really appreciate that, and I guess it's really neat to hear somebody else pick out the purpose to why I did some things, and that came across, right? Because Jeremy, you've presented a lot, right? I'm sure when you're putting things together, you have a very specific reason for some things, and sometimes people pick up on that, and sometimes they don't, and we never know specifically, right? So, yeah, that Michael Jackson album, that's a huge. I'm a huge fan of that. For anybody that wants to get into speaking, and Jeremy, I don't even know if I've told you about this book. Hey, Reggie.
Hey, Reggie.
But yeah, for anybody that wants to get into speaking, there is a remarkable book by oh God, I just forgot his name now. Chris. Anyway, he's the guy who runs the TED conferences. Okay, he's the owner of TED, and he put together a book on TED speakers and how to become a speaker and why all these speakers are so good and how they do their thing. It's a remarkable book on public speaking.
Is it Chris from True North DJs?
It is not Chris from True North DJs.
Props there, Chris.
Need to get some stuff hooked up, he says. So anyway, one of the many methods in there that it describes is to open with a story. And in fact, I need to reread that book. In fact, I don't even think I finished it. But one of the exercises he suggests in that book, Jeremy, is that you simply come up with a bunch of stories with no topic for a seminar actually in mind. Come up with some stories you want to maybe one day use. And as you kind of make notes about these stories, you will find topics that you can actually fit around these stories. So it's kind of the opposite way of approaching a seminar, right? First, you figure out what you're going to talk about, then you try to find some stories to match. And he's like, no, because then you might create something artificial out of what you're going to do. Come up, just find out those authentic stories you've got, and then you'll find topics that will fit those stories.
So for all of you who are wondering what it is that Dave actually talked about, he talked about the best way of advertising, which is word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
And how much it's worth to me.
And I think the cool thing about what you presented is, so I present a lot on lighting and performance. I can't really talk too much. I can't talk to a cake decorator like you can with your topic. I can't talk to Wells Fargo Bank about what I do where you can. And I think that opens up a lot of doors and a lot of avenues for you. So, like I said, you came in with killer content. You came in with good meaning and good heart. Again, you could tell that you had a passion for what you were talking about. And, you know, again, when we talk about what we do as an MC, as a DJ, we have to put passion and we have to put heart into it. Otherwise, it's not meaningful. And people see that. They see right through it. So,
amen.
Yeah.
Chris. There he is. He's like, oh, yeah. Look at this. Why is Chris lit so beautifully? Look at this. He's like got professional lighting behind him that's moving and not stopping.
Actually, it's in front of me, but
I've got a demo over here.
I got to do something.
We'll be raffling this off in our show. No, I'm not. We're not.
Hey,
I just got mine 2 days ago.
4,000? Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
I just got this puppy hooked up today. This thing is slick. You're right, Jeremy.
Reggie was just showing.
Oh, Reggie's got his too.
You know what? If mine was not in my bag, I would go grab it and I would show my little DJ to go to.
Okay, Jeremy, if Chris is grabbing his right now, then you have to grab yours. Oh, no.
That's not the same. See, okay. So I don't know how you guys are placed on the screen. On my screen, you and Reggie are on top and bottom of each other, and Chris is below mine. So Chris has his 4,000. I've got my 4,000. You guys have your new marks. I mean, it's just, you know.
Wow.
It's all good.
In Music is sponsored tonight with
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
That means I've got a 1 in 3 chance of winning.
Yeah, woo!
Boom. Nice.
So my wife, actually, she works for us. Dave, I think you knew that. I don't know how many other people knew that. And we had a ceremony on a Sunday, and we typically like to give our guys Sundays off. And I was officiating, and I'm like, okay, I need somebody to run ceremony. So I'm like, I'll have Sarah do it. And so we brought my laptop, and I hate running a ceremony specifically on a laptop. You know, you're like wanting to fade this one down and move this slider over and then fade that one up right at the same time. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we're just going to use this because I have this in my bag. You know, it fits. It's seriously is like, oh, yeah, you guys saw it. It's that big.
Yeah, so, it fits right on the only computer that DJs use, right, Jeremy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Upside down Apple.
Carry on. Sorry to distract.
So I'm like, here. So I walked her through it. I said, here's what you're going to do. You know, as guests are walking in, you're just going to auto mix. And then once ceremony starts, you're going to turn off auto mix. You're going to open up side list. And then all you're going to do is go down the line and you're going to play these songs. You drag this one over here, slide it over, hit play. Drag that one over here, slide it over, or hit play, slide it over. And like that little controller is so easy to use and it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's like $75 or $79. It's the cheapest backup piece of equipment you will buy.
Amen to that. And I'm going to use mine for ceremonies. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm like, this is way, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it even works with a Mac, which is fantastic. Not everything does. I'm serious about this. Perfect example. One of my DJs, he uses the Pioneer. You remember the board I was showing you? Oh, no. Yeah, he uses the Pioneer. We had a huge father-daughter dance a couple weeks ago. And He uses the Pioneer DJSX. Yeah, I think it's that one. SX2 or something like that. So that's what he uses, and he has Serato on his Mac.
Yeah.
And I had to go from a father-daughter dance. We had 3 sessions of a father-daughter dance. My last song was at 8:55 for that father-daughter dance. I think I told you about this, didn't I? And then I had to go over to a prom that started at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
I had him basically running my prom until I got there. But as he was doing sound checks in the afternoon, he's like, dude, I cannot get the 8000 to connect with my Serato. And I'm like, that's crazy, because the Denon 8000 has Serato right on the board. Like, it is specifically made for Serato. But obviously it's been mapped for virtual DJ as well. And he could not get it to connect. So yeah, apparently he looked into it. Apparently Mac did not make a driver that will work, or like a downloadable driver that will work for Serato on the DJ 8000.
Wow.
It was weird.
Well, Mac doesn't work with drivers though. Like, I never have to download drivers for anything on a
But
Mac.
he couldn't find any way for his Mac to connect to that 8000.
Weird.
Yeah, it was dumb. He actually he talked to some of the guys at Serato. They're like, yeah, we just don't support that. Like, your name is on the board. Does that not make sense? I mean, seriously, Chris, Reggie, help me out here.
Nope, doesn't make sense at all.
No.
Even it's got Serato even on the 4000 right here.
I know. It's
I don't do Serato. I'm a virtual DJ guy. So.
Oh, boy. What are you, Reggie?
I'm on the board. I actually like both of them.
Well,
unless you're using Pioneer, I mean, you're all wrong as far as I'm concerned. But whatever. No.
Yeah, no, we've got a Pioneer board, and I actually had to use it. That's why I took that picture and I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I had to use it because I didn't want to take my 8000 from that event and then go set it up over at the other event. So we ended up using the Pioneer for the big father-daughter dance, and then I used my 8000 just because I'm more comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I of course I say that on the heels of the controller I just showed you. It's the one that just died on me, so I had to buy a replacement. But it's been my full time for 4 years. I don't know how long these things should last, but 4 years, I'm happy. Whatever, it doesn't owe me anything. So
4 years. You know, we still have 6000s that we've been using for probably 8 to 10 years. Like the original at 6000s.
crazy.
That's Denon, by the way.
So Reggie, how about since we were just talking about Midwest DJs Live, why don't you give us a quick Coles Notes version? I know you were only there for day one, but from what I gather, it was a pretty good day one for you.
Yes, it was. I really liked the first guy I talked. I think it was Mitch, I believe it was.
Like the first speaker?
Yeah.
That was Mike Walter.
Mike Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned really a lot from just listening to him, and that one photograph he put up about mixing, interactive, and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny. I don't know if you've seen the video that I posted earlier this week about how he's talking about everything has to go in sets. And that just popped into my head Saturday night when I was at that wedding. Everything sets, you got to start, beginning, and an end. Start, beginning, and an end.
Yeah.
Just so much just pops into my head just remembering from Monday.
Nice.
You know, the cool thing with I love Mike Walter, all of Mike Walter's information, you know, DVDs, all that stuff. A couple weeks back, you know, somebody had asked, you know, what's going on in that table behind you. It was the Jenga game and actually I found one. Basically, you know, in his training your DJs or your upcoming DJs, you write the song title on these Jenga pieces and then you scatter them, and then they basically have to take those pieces and they have to create those sets. I agree with you, Reggie. I think Mike Walter was a great opening to that show.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of good following. He's been speaking at a lot of different conferences. I know that he wasn't thrilled about starting at 8 o'clock or 8:30 or whatever.
8:30.
Yeah, but he was definitely a good speaker for attendees because he did get people awake and he got people going right off the bat. So, and you know, I know that Mitch and I just kind of cracked the joke about, you know, Mike still has stuff for sale. I can't believe after his presentation and going into the second day that he still had DVDs and he still had materials available. I'm like, oh my God, that stuff should have sold out, because again, his content is so good. And you know, even if you're not a multi-op, he's got great information for anybody.
Yeah, he does.
I was saving up for this.
Yeah. That's right.
Love it.
But I plan on, I've already got the okay from the girlfriend. We are planning on 2019 Milwaukee.
Nice. 2 days this time?
We are going Sunday through Tuesday.
Good for you. Good for you.
Get the passes now. They're what, $111.11 before what, May 31st or something like that, Jer?
No, I think it was just for the end of that week. I don't know. Go check it out. Go check it out.
Right now.
What it'll be is I'll go to the conferences, you'll go to the casino.
Nice. So she's going to make the money that you're going to spend. That's cool. This sale price is on, according to the website, until April 28th. That's wait. No, you can buy them now. That was when they started selling at that price.
I was going to say, well, that was before the show even started.
Yeah, I know they're still available at that price. The link is right here, so I'm not
You'll
sure.
have to send me the link then.
Yeah, I would definitely jump on that. Chris, how come you weren't there?
Oh, don't even.
Was it too far north? I mean,
Prior arrangements.
what?
No, it just didn't work out for us this time. But I don't know, if Reggie keeps talking to me about it, maybe I'll get over there this next one.
Yeah,
You're only in Minnesota, man.
I know.
Maybe.
But you know, that last comment you said kind of enticed me a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So Reggie, what were some of the other ones that you really enjoyed?
I enjoyed all of them. It just mind-boggling, all the information that was taken. That's why I'm going to end up buying a video.
Yeah.
So I can
yeah. Yeah, and you know the other thing too. You know, we talked about great content, but I think the real value was nothing was really duplicated, but yet everything was connected. So like what Dave talked,
everything the first day, because I was only there Monday, everything kind of had a transition. This guy talked into this guy, you know, had a smooth transition at every speaker. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was things where I was looking at Bonacisi stuff, and I'm like, oh, that is a great point. That is what I want to talk about in my presentation, or I do talk about that in my presentation. Dave, you had the picture of this guy jumping out of an airplane. The other guy's like hanging on in front of him. Like, oh gosh, I hope I live, you know?
Yeah.
And it was trust me. And how many times did I say that in my presentation? I said, sometimes a bride and groom can't understand what you're trying to create for them. And you just have to let them and reassure them. You just have to say, trust me. And when you build that trust, that's what makes you valuable.
Absolutely.
It's the fact of what you do. It's the fact that you've built the trust and then you've created those results that you've promised them.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree, Reggie. I think everything was really connected. Even though like none of the presenters said, hey, how about you talk about this? And I'll use that as a transition into my presentation. But it just goes to show you how valuable all of those presenters were and how great of content they had.
Well, I mean, we have to be careful about reinforcing how valuable the presenters were, Jeremy. You and I were both presenters.
All the other presenters,
first day presenters.
I think it reinforces the great job that the organizers did.
Yeah.
Right? You can tell they all had a pretty good idea of the type of character of the individuals that they were putting on stage, and that, you know, that they probably had a pretty good feeling that you know, we would all mesh together. Now, of course, Jeremy and I and the rest of the presenters maybe wouldn't necessarily have known that because we weren't on the inside track of discovering who was going to be booked and how. But yeah, it was there's certainly a testament, I think, to all the content that was shared, that so many of us dovetailed so nicely with each other's content. That's for sure. In fact, I meant to bring up in my presentation, you know, a few things that were said the day before, but I ran like 2 or 3 minutes long, so I figured I better chop it out, unlike some people.
I actually finished right on time.
Oh.
They already, I had 47 seconds left.
You guys, look, you guys, Reggie and Chris, the $99 access to download all the videos from Windows Studios Live is worth it to watch Jeremy.
Oh, I plan on it.
Continue, looking at Vicky going, I got lots of time.
I had to use 2 minutes to talk about Mike Walter and his stuff. So really, I was under 2 minutes. Yes. Yeah, no.
That was funny. That was really funny.
Wallach, I had actually never met Mr. Wallach before. We had dinner with him, or we had lunch with him, and just a really, really interesting guy and what he does in his business, how he kind of opened up my eyes because, he's like, not everybody's going to sit there, or not everyone's going to wear a polo. And I'm like, gosh, that's a good point. We have polos that we give our people. And then we actually had some hoodies made that have our logo and stuff on them. But he said, don't try to make your business look like a business. Try to make your business look like your image. And some of these people don't want to wear polos. Some of these people don't want to do this or do that, but they still need to brand with you and they still need to be part of your company. So let them be comfortable in what they wear and then brand that. So I thought that was really cool. That's something that we're definitely going to incorporate. And again, Bonacici's stuff was just, his was so good. It was Do Like Disney. And I think he had a lot of good takeaways. Very intelligent man. I was
very much so. Well, tell you what, let's so Reggie, Chris, one of the great things about Midwest DJs Live, Reggie, I think you experienced this, was they had a round table series both days, which I thought
I didn't. I had to leave before then. I was starting to crash. Getting tired.
Yeah,
I left at 3:30 on Monday.
Okay, so let's quickly round table it here. So what took place in the round tables at Midwest DJs Live were that there were a whole bunch of tables around the wall. All the tables around the room were assigned a topic. And in addition to that topic, they were assigned one of the presenters and one of the board members of Midwest DJs Live to be the moderator. And then, the other 6 or 7 chairs around the table got filled, and people were given the opportunity to ask a question of the presenter that was at that table based around the topic that was assigned to that table. And
hold on.
These sessions were 2 minutes apiece.
It wasn't specific to the presenter. The question was open to everybody at that table to brainstorm. So it wasn't
that's not how we ran my table.
Oh yeah, that's how we did. I loved the fact that Brian Kelm and I were on day one. We basically stayed quiet because when we had talked to Mitch, he said, really, you're just making sure that everything's moving and, people aren't getting, well, this is what we do. And then they take 5 minutes, that is. But what we did was someone had a topic or someone had a question. And then we went through every single person and said, okay, how would you handle that situation? Or
Got
how
it.
do you
Got it.
overcome sales when you're in a down year or a down month? So I
think we did do that sometimes. That's true.
I loved how it incorporated everybody. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. So let's do that right here. So Chris, Reggie, wedding related questions. Throw something out there and let's all round table it, spend a couple of minutes, and then go to the next one.
Do it.
Reggie?
I'll throw it up to Chris first because he wasn't there.
Chris is in the hot seat.
Yeah, put me in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Boy. Any wedding question, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can be specific. You can do weddings. You can do, say, I've got a question on sales. I have a question on marketing. I have a question on word of mouth. I got whatever it is. It can be on anything. It can be on music mixing.
So what is your best outcome for your marketing? What gets you the most gigs? How you market that?
Reggie, you want to start?
I don't really have. My only marketing I do is, believe it or not, is still business cards. Business cards.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I just got another box in.
Nice. Well, it's a good thing they're not just hanging around your house. It's a good thing they're getting out the door.
Oh yeah, I think last Saturday, I think because it was a family that I know and I played a lot of polkas, I gave out 9 business cards, which to me, if I get three out of the 9 back, I consider that a good turnout, a good
If you get 1 back, that's great.
Usually, on average, when I give out the minimum 9 to 10, I usually get 2 to 3 back.
Nice. Very cool.
So is it people that approach you to ask for them? Do you leave a couple per table? What do you do?
People approach me usually. And I ended up having the manager of the hall and also 2 of the managers of the halls asked for business cards because they were impressed that I got there at 10 o'clock in the morning, set up, and then came back, and I tore everything down that night and was out the door in less than an hour.
Nice.
Yeah, Dave doesn't do that. Dave takes forever.
I knew you were going to go there.
Found that out. He takes like an hour and a half to tear down. It's like all over Canada. Canada talks about this.
That's what it took me about Saturday night, about an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
It is a running joke up here that Dave takes forever to load out, and that is the truth. And there's a purpose to it, and it made it into my presentation.
And now Dave is going to talk about, as we segue into how Dave does his marketing.
Yeah, so my marketing comes overwhelmingly from word of mouth. So people recommending me from a variety of different sources. And I'll share this because I shared it on stage, at the very outset of my presentation, just to really drill home how much word of mouth is worth to me. I showed screenshots of my most recent post on my Facebook business page and my business Instagram account.
It was like August.
My Facebook one was October and my Instagram account was August. Those are the most recent posts on there. So word of mouth has become so powerful for me that I'm allowed to fall down in areas where my competition is not allowed to. It has allowed me pricing that my competition can't get to. It has allowed me so many things. So, I do participate in the wedding show every year, but my primary purpose to that is just being a part of the community, the industry up here, the special events community. If I get an event out of it, bonus. But that's not my intent. My intent is to be a face among those in my area. I do the odd occasional promoted post on Facebook. I really think those are underrated, actually. Mm-hmm. If I have a post that I'm pretty sure is going to blow up, and this might be counterintuitive, if I'm pretty sure it's going to blow up, I will pay to promote it. Mm-hmm. Some people are like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you pay to promote the posts that aren't going to do as well? Because I want the ones that are going to do really well to just like blow up.
Yeah, grab attention.
Yeah. So that's, Chris, I do a lot with the individuals that are a part of my events to influence word of mouth, whether it's the parents or people doing toasts or the other wedding vendors I'm working with. Communication and the establishment of a relationship through that communication and adding value to that relationship is what gets me word of mouth from those individuals. And, as Jeremy knows, I spoke, there's an ongoing pattern. I communicate with those groups of people I just mentioned. I communicate with them before the wedding, during the wedding, and after the wedding. Yes, the parents hear from me after the wedding. Yes, every wedding professional hears from me after the wedding. And even the people doing speeches. And that puts me top of mind in many, many ways with those people.
I must have fell asleep during that part. I'm just kidding.
People that I ended up giving out business cards to Saturday night, I do a funny little joke. I'll have the groom put his hand out, or the bride put her hand out, and the groom put his over the top of hers. And I say to him, I says, that's the last time you'll have the upper hand in this marriage. And I got so many people roaring in that dance hall. I had people that says, hey, man, we want to have you at our party. Can you give us a card? And that's how it is. And my card, just to show you, my cards are very simple. My name and my phone number.
Hey, DJ, that's my initials. I toyed with doing that one day. So my middle name is actually Jerome. So I am DJ. And I was going to do like a DJ name with T, like T-E-E, because that's my last name is Ternier. Anyway, carry on. Jeremy, what do you do for marketing?
So when it comes to marketing,
what's your primary source, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know if we really have a primary source. I have actually Sarah. I talked about my wife. She's the one who actually does all of our marketing. She does all of that posting on Facebook and Instagram. I wish I could take all the glory and say, yeah, I'm telling people how active I am on social media, but really it's just my wife stealing my pictures. So we promote a little bit different. She does a lot of the social media, but when we do a wedding show, we really focus on, and you're going to hear this, a lot of this happens on the East Coast, West Coast, where they actually have time to perform. They get to mix on stage at a wedding show or a wedding showcase. And they have people who entertain. They'll bring a lot of the crowd and kind of engage people. So they have like performance times. We don't have that, but we actually have a bridal breakfast in our area, and I'm the master ceremonies for that. And I'm not putting down anybody in my market by any means, but I think what I do as an MC is at a really high level compared to some of the other companies in our business or in our industry. And there's a lot of, I mean, Dave, you know this, there's a lot of great businesses in our market. So I'm not bashing anybody when I'm saying this, but what I do as an MC, people really understand and they see who I am as a master of ceremonies. I'm not just an announcer introducing the next presenter to come up. They can tell that I really am good at directing and flowing, making everything flow the way it should. And so here's the crazy thing, like people in the DJ world, you know, because most of my presentations are on lighting. Everybody in the DJ world knows me as a lighting guy, as a lighting designer, as a, you know, lighting person. But people in my market know me as a high-end master of ceremonies. So it's kind of different. It's hard to, I guarantee there's a lot of people that don't even understand the level of lighting that we do, because we don't push it as much, because that isn't as important as a really good master of ceremonies is. Mm-hmm. So we have time on the stage when I'm introducing people and I'm directing all of this stuff. They see my role as a master of ceremonies, and then in my presentation, I explain why it's important to have a truly good master of ceremonies. Mm-hmm. Sell my company, it will sell other people's companies, but they're seeing it live in what I'm doing. So really just being in front of people, whether it's at a wedding, like you're talking about, Reggie, Dave, being in front of people is and you can help people understand that value, then it's a great marketing tool. Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, one of the scary things, actually, I just happened to have it read, is when you go through a name change. This used to be my name years ago, Rock and Roll Express Entertainment. Because I do bars, everybody found a problem with trying to put that up on their marquee, so then they just started putting DJ Reggie. So, and it's just like, you know what? Everybody would start, hey, you're DJ Reggie, aren't you? Instead of, hey, that guy for Rock and Roll Express.
Got it.
So then I just dropped it and ended up going with that.
I like Rock and Roll Express. That's cool.
Why do you think, what, 20 some years, no, not that old. Yeah, 20 some years later, I'm still stuck with DJ Jer. At 15, oh, how cool was that? That sounded so amazing. And now like DJ Jer does lighting in big corporate events. It's like, oh man, I can't get rid of it.
That's funny. Okay, Chris, you got to round this out, this round table. What are your primary forms of marketing?
So in our area, we don't have a lot of competition. I think there's about 3 of us. I mean, you get some of those, you know, house DJs that you pay, you know, $100 and it's their friend or whatever. You get a few of those, but there's 3 main companies that are here. A lot of mine is going to be word of mouth as well, whether it's word of mouth after the fact or referrals through like Facebook. You know, they have those sell sites and swap sites and all that. And, you know, anytime somebody says, hey, looking for a DJ, I mean, I fill up half of those by recommendations on that. But I do have a website, very, very minimal use. And, you know, stuff that comes through that, I would say easily less than half I get through a website.
Right.
Yeah, word of mouth is definitely pretty big.
I should say I get majority of my inquiries through my website, just FYI, but they're not coming because they were Googling and found my website. The website was simply the conduit through which they got a hold of me. They're like, someone said you had to call Dave, so I just Googled my name, found my website, or I don't know about if you guys do this, but the contact me button on my Facebook business page, I have that set as a link to go to the contact form on my website.
Yep, that's what I do too.
Okay, yeah, because the moment they allowed that, I'm like, thank God, because I hate getting inquiries through Facebook. God.
Yep.
And I guess, elephant in the room, which should be acknowledged, this is how I ended my presentation, at least in part, was, your performance. At least for me, it's the greatest marketing tool that I have. And I really wish DJs would look at performance training workshops as marketing workshops.
Dave, back up a second. So you said on Facebook, you can change the contact us button to go to your contact page?
Yes, you can.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
I got some for Sarah.
You've got an update to do tonight.
Yep. Wake up.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. No more messages through your business Facebook page. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Cool.
But yeah, I really think people should evaluate the quality of their performance in part based on the word of mouth marketing that they receive. Because, I don't know what the average guest count is at the events you guys work at, but for me, the average wedding is
last Saturday was 225.
There you go. Yeah. So average wedding for me is probably 150 would be the average. So, if you're not thrilling all 150 of those people every weekend, then yeah, you need to work in marketing. And in that case, I would call the marketing a performance training workshop.
Something I'm going to do that Brian Red said he used to do back in the 80s was have request cards that have your business card attached, and then they just rip it off and bring the request card up to you, and there's your business card for them. So that's something I'm going to be doing during the dinner here in the next few months. Going to get those request card with my business name on them.
I would be cautious just as to what type of events you do that with, Reggie. And if
just weddings.
Well, and those are the events I would be cautious with. It really depends on the couple. A lot of the time they're spending, a lot more money on making the event look a certain way than they are on our services.
Right.
So, I'm always cognizant of the fact that, is anything that I'm going to do take away from them, yeah. And you just don't want it to come across as tacky or anything like that. So right. Just consider.
Or just make an announcement that I have, just so you guys know, I have request cards. If you want to come up here and grab one.
Yeah. I'm not saying request cards can't be done, but I think maybe just having that conversation with your couple ahead of time, if that's something you want to do. And then, rather than just dumping them all onto guest tables ahead of time, maybe, during cocktail hour, wandering around, introducing yourselves to guests and physically handing them this little card. This is, I want you to be a really great part of tonight. I want you to feel like this night is being built, for you. So here's how you can get involved.
After this show, Dave's not going to actually have to speak again because I'm just kind of spilling all the content that he gave. But what Dave does, I was actually really impressed with. I'd never even thought about this. You talked about how when people come up with a request, and maybe it's a strange request, you'd be like, oh, well, tell me about the story behind this request. Why this song? And I was just like, yeah, I don't usually do that. I never asked them, why do you want Mr. Roboto? But like I said, I loved your approach. I thought that was really cool. And it gave you a way to start a conversation with somebody and build a relationship, and then brings you back to, guess who's going to call me when they're getting married?
Exactly. Yeah, I think requests are such an untapped way.
Very big.
Yeah.
What is your roundtable discussion? What do you want to put out there for us?
Me? What genre would you stay away from at any given wedding?
Oh man, I got a great story on this. You guys go ahead first.
So Jeremy's answer is country. Everybody else?
Well, if he would have he played this wedding last weekend, he wouldn't have been playing long because 90% of it was country.
Yeah, for me, Reggie, there's not a single genre of music that I will stay away from.
Okay.
Is the long answer? Is the short, easy answer? I mean, I had a Brandy and Paul's wedding, September 2016. I played Slayer. I played Megadeth. I played you name it. Okay, this was a wedding where, okay. Whereas other weddings have been please, you've got to play Norah Jones, Dave, and you've got to. I mean, then there was that Sunday wedding last August. Holy man, I've never played this much dirty 90s rap music in my life at a wedding. Let me just say this. Let me just say this. A lot of
True Life Crew.
Yeah. When I knew this wedding was different, when at about 11:30, one of the bridesmaids went over to the wall. We were in this nice hotel. And she gets down on her hands and knees and starts working her feet up the wall, wearing a dress, and starts twerking against the wall. I'm like, this is a different wedding.
Hey, no one else would let her twerk.
It was an incredible night, incredible couple, it was just, but holy. So yeah, the answer to your question, Reggie, is nothing is off the table with me, because by doing so, all I'm going to do is put myself in a box, and Dave don't like to be in a box.
Chris, I think you agree with it, but go ahead. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
No, I definitely agree. We don't really block any genres or anything like that. What we like to do is when we meet with our clients, we kind of try to get a feel of their guests and what they're going to want to hear. Basically, we just watch and see reactions through the whole night. I mean, sometimes they'll say strictly, "You will not play, Reggie, a polka at this wedding." We get no polkas in northern Minnesota.
Believe it or not, I did have a bride that said no polkas, no chicken dance, no hokey pokey.
I would say like the blues and the polkas are probably the least favorite ones up here.
Right.
We really don't hold back on anything.
So I'm kind of on the same boat with you guys. And the reason I was like, oh man, I got a good story. Because I always ask, again, it's their wedding. They want their music. They didn't hire you to play your music. They hired you to play the music that's going to engage them, that's going to engage their guests. And I always ask that question. I think I talked about this a couple shows back, but I always ask that question, what type of music do you want? And then, we like this, and this. Okay, well, how about music that you don't like? And they always come up with, well, we don't want any of that screamo. And everybody says the same exact thing, screamo. I'm like, when did this genre of screamo come out?
You're talking stuff like War and stuff like that.
So then I always ask that question, like, what weddings have you guys been to? What weddings have you gone to that they're like, I think I'm gonna play some screamo?
That's a good question.
And but again, I agree. If you have a couple that says, I want to hear some story of the year, you're gonna play story of the year because it's their wedding. That's what they want.
Yep.
And that's really what it all comes down to is making sure that you are accommodating to the people who are writing that check to you. Yeah,
very true. And I'll add one more little tip to that. I only started doing this with very inconsistently last year, but I will be more consistent this year. And that is ensuring I have the bulk of the requests from the bride and groom, not 7 days before, but 14 to 21 days before, and then going through all of them and asking them why, if I can, for every single track. So, just today I had a final planning session with Kelsey and Kendra for their June wedding, and hurry up internet. And one of the requests they had, I was like, what is that all about? And the song was You Take My Breath Away by Rex Smith. I'm like, oh, like, you mean Take My Breath Away like Berlin? No, Rex Smith. That was
Rex Smith, that song's probably from the early 80s.
Yeah, so they said, yeah, you've got to play that song, Dave, because that's Mom and Dad's wedding song.
Oh, cool.
Right? So
I got that song stuck in my head.
There you go. I mean, I may have sloughed it off during dinner, right? Had I not known that. Had it just been a random request of theirs. Yeah. But it's not getting sloughed off during dinner now, is it? And, you know, I also made a comment. I'm like, oh, I see you've got Living on a Prayer in here. You've got Low Floretta. And she backs up and she's like, oh, Living on a Prayer? That's Mom. She said, make sure he plays Living on a Prayer. So guess what? I'm not just going to play Living on a Prayer. That's going to be Moment. That's going to be Mom. That's going to be. So even if they're not unusual songs, an obvious song to you and I, oh, yeah, every event requests XYZ. Ask about it because you never know.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
Well, what do you say, Jer?
Good chat, man. Everybody. Yeah,
Thanks.
great chat. You know, we're 5 minutes over our normal, but well worth it. I appreciate, I mean, both of you guys, Chris, Reggie. Obviously, we'll see both of you at Midwest DJs Live next year. Right, Chris?
Or Mobile Beat.
Or Mobile Beat. Okay. Yeah.
I can only do Midwest Live.
We haven't been to Mobile Beat since 2013, so I missed it this year. I guaranteed I'm going next year. So.
Hey, hold on. This is BS.
Was 2013, was that still at the Riviera?
Yeah.
Was
it was the second to the last year there.
Okay. So it was the old format.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
No, that's cool.
Okay, so Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Are you kidding me? That's only an 8-hour drive. What's the excuse?
Milwaukee, yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. I got home at 3:30 that night after leaving Midwest DJs Live.
All right, Chris. So what's stopping us?
Nothing.
These two are the ones that harassed me, end up making me go to Midwest Live.
And you can thank us again.
I just did.
It's Chris. Mobile Beat has changed a lot, of course, since you've last been, and it's a remarkable show. But Midwest DJs Live is going to be a very different experience, and you would do well to attend it.
Yeah, it's definitely rich content. It's good stuff. So yeah, again, last
pitch.
Closing great shout out shout out to a great board who put together a great show at Midwest DJs Live. Shout out to those guys. And that's all I got for my closing.
Outstanding. Reggie, thanks for being here. Chris, thanks for hanging out with us. And
guys.
To everybody else that's watching this after the broadcast, good night.
See you next week.
See ya.